I watched a video today, and it reminded me of something that I felt I should share. When we're growing up, our parents, our teachers, everybody always tells us that you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be, right? And that's true. But here's the thing they don't tell us. There's a but to every single thing, including doing what you want to do and being what you want to be. If you want to be a singer, that's fine, go for it, you can do it. But you may not be a good one. If you want to go and you want to scale mountains and do all those things for a living, go for it. But you might not make a lot of money off those videos. If you want to say, no, I'm not making my bed today, why not? But that means it'll be unmade when you come home. That'll be one less task that you've done that day. If you want to murder somebody, fine. But do it in your head in a fantasy that will get your anger out and then go about your day, because depending on your beliefs, that would be a reward or a punishment. But there are people who care for that person either way that you'd be hurting in that one act because of your anger or whatever you had. If you want to just stay at home all day, not go to work, call in sick, go for it. But your reliability might be hurt, or you might not make a lot of money. If you want to hate, then hate. But imagine all the more productive things you could be doing with your time, like loving, or accepting, or even just understanding. If you didn't put so much effort into hating somebody, can you imagine the better things you'd be able to put that energy into? If you want to join the military, go for it, but you'll spend a lot of time away from home. If you want to not join the military, even though everybody else in your family's done it, that's fine too. But you'll be breaking a tradition, a legacy. If you want to leave home, leave home. But think of all you're leaving behind. If you want to destroy someone else's happiness, you can do that too. But you'll destroy your own along the way. Destruction doesn't bring happiness. It brings sorrow to everyone involved. So yeah, if you want to be angry, be angry. But you're shutting out a lot of other positive emotions by doing that. I'm not saying that you can't do these things once in a while. I'm not saying anything. I'm not even saying what you should or shouldn't do. That's your decision. Because you can do what you want to do and you can be what you want to be. But there's a but for everything. Everything has its opposite, its consequences. Some of them are worth it, but a lot of them aren't. If you want to skip out on dinner, that's fine, but you'll go hungry later, and it's the same thing. Everything has a but. But is it worth it for you? Is hating that neighbor because they're gay or black, or you don't like the way that they water their lawn, or whatever it is that worth all the effort that you're putting into that action? If you want to go and shoot that kid at school because they've been bullying you, is it worth the consequences? The buts to those? If you're hating your neighbor over whatever little thing that they're doing, it doesn't affect you. If they're gay, you don't have to bother with that. It's not a part of your life. It's a part of theirs. You can just ignore them. If they're colored, then what does that matter too? It's a description. It's a culture that we've thrived on. Is it worth your negative energy? Is it worth your time to be so upset by it? If you're going to shoot that kid at school, is it worth the fact that somebody's going to miss them? Maybe somebody you care about. Is it worth going to jail or hurting yourself, taking away that part of your soul? Is it? Or would it be better to just let your neighbor walk by, just ignore them because it's easier than spending all that energy hating them? Is it better to just try? I know it's not the same. I know it's not easy because every situation is different and everything is hard. It is. It's hard to breathe some days for those of us who have health problems. It's hard to walk some days because that person just kept putting you down. It is hard to be happy, to let yourself be happy. But isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth sitting there and forcing yourself to breathe? Isn't it worth letting that kid slam you into the locker because you'll be gone in 4 years anyway, and they won't know how to live or talk nice to that person that they care most about? But you will. You'll know how to turn the other cheek when it's more important, and eventually you will learn when to and how to fight back. Isn't it worth it to just let the negative emotions fly off of you or put them into something more productive? Isn't it worth it to feel what you feel, but act on what you know? Yeah, I spend a lot of time being angry too. I'm angry with everything and everyone all the time. But I don't act that way. Or at least I do my best not to. I know it doesn't happen all the time, and yeah, sometimes I just want to slam something, so I come home and I do it. I throw my books on the floor because I'm tired of schoolwork. I bang my head against a wall because it's already hurting anyway. Yeah, sometimes I act angry too. But the point is that you don't act angry to the people who have done nothing wrong. Or even to the people that have. I'm not saying just let people get away with whatever, because that's not right either, but sometimes it's just not worth it. Maybe that's what we all should be thinking about right now. Is it worth it to let people be angry and let them act on that anger towards other people? Is it worth it to be that person who's just hating for fear or not wanting to understand or just not understanding at all, no matter how hard you've tried? There's a lot of hate for a lot of people right now. Now, we can't let that happen because it's not just about those people. It's about them and us and our children. It's about the world that we want our kids to grow up in. Which would you rather? A world with no gay people, with no people of color? Or a world where everyone just ignores their differences or celebrates their differences because it makes them happy? There's a lot of anger, and I think we need to just redirect that, don't you? Isn't it worth it to just try and create the world that we want our future generations to be in instead of trying to create the world that we want to be in now? Isn't it better to just try not to hate?